Yeah, we are here. All right, everybody, welcome to Cohesive AI event today. This series of events that we have recently launched is being graced by a very, very good host that we have today. Not just a host, we have been seeing him at multiple places with his product sense, with his design sense, with the sense of his business as well, because lately I've been interacting with him on a lot on these grounds. And a lot of us already know him. Maybe we have interacted with him directly. We might have used some of his products, or a most famous doc that you might have read from him is the career hype doc. That is, a lot of us must have used for negotiation, for joining the jobs as well. So with this wide range of influence, with this wide range of impact that this person is creating, I would like to welcome Felix from ADPList, all the way from Singapore, right now with us here in our office in India. And he's going to take an AMA with us today. Please bombard him with all his questions and we'll take it from here. Felix, all over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Swapnil. So the quick introduction about myself, I'm Felix and I'm the co-founder here at ADPList. I'm super excited to be here at Unacademy's office together with Swapnil for this AMA Live. And, frankly, it's my second time in Bangalore and in India, and it's one of the most exciting one. Obviously, it was a rough start, at the airport custom, but managed to make it out. The trip has been amazing so far. So a little bit about myself, right? I'm a designer, and as a design founder, I think that's one of the most exciting things that you'll be able to do, just because, as a CEO and a designer, you're able to look at things from a design perspective. And today, not a lot of leadership management are actually made up of designers. And so just being able to bring that design perspective into the company has been, I think, one of the most powerful lenses for me, myself, and the team. So besides that, we started ADPList about 2.5 years ago, almost 3 now, with the mission to democratize mentorship. When we first started ADPList, it was a very simple Excel spreadsheet during the COVID times. And all James and I wanted to do is to basically help people find jobs and get, mentorship and support during these very tough COVID times where people were laid off. They were just anxious as well. And we basically built this very simple spreadsheet, and we said, hey, if you need someone, if you need a mentor, go to this spreadsheet, put your name inside, and you can contact anyone that is up there, right? Whether it be for a job opportunity or just to support them, or just to mentor others as well. And little did we know, because James and I were in our full-time job, it actually took off extremely fast, and we had no choice. Quite frankly, we had no choice but to quit our jobs at, James was, I believe, 26, 27. And back then I was 24, right? 23, yeah. So, very, very young. And we just, I didn't even graduated from any university. So not even a college grad. And I decided that, hey, this is the path I wanted to take. So basically, I left my job and started ADPList full-time, and things obviously built from there. Today, some of the team members are here with me in India as well. We're just extremely privileged to be able to build such an amazing global product. Today, just to give you a size of it, ADPList has over 16,000 verified mentors around the world in over 140 countries. We have hundreds and thousands of members around the world, and obviously we're doing millions and millions of minutes. Just to give you that's kind of like an average, we're doing about 30 million minutes so far already this year of mentorship sessions, and 70% of these bookings are actually cross-border, and that means that a mentor and a mentee comes from a totally different city or country, right? And this would not have been possible without ADPList. You're now able to meet someone that you respect, that you love, you want to learn from them, from a totally different city or country that you have never been to, or you might not be privileged enough to be there. And we bridge that gap, right? So that all social class people can actually achieve the knowledge that they want in their career progression. And that is why we call it democratizing mentorship, right? We don't believe in privilege. What we believe in is that everyone, should have the fair start in their career, right? Whether it be as a designer or product manager, or even if you want to be a founder as well. I think that's something that we want to encourage and support people. So that's a little bit about ADPList. I'm super excited here just to answer your questions today about design. I think also what, I've been personally studying on AI and design, and obviously how AI is in design. I think that's something that, I'm happy to answer as well. Swapnil and team has built Cohesive AI, which I have used from time to time, and especially, using ChatGPT as well. Quite a bit of these products, right? And I'm using like an AI note taker. So a lot of perspective, I think, on this product and what AI means for designers. But I would tell you that AI will not be here to replace design, at least based on what we're seeing right now today. So yeah, let's dive into the questions. Swapnil, we can dive in and answer some of the questions from Discord, from anywhere that you are watching from. Yeah, so thank you so much, Swapnil, for that. Yeah, you're exactly right. So this morning, funny story, this morning I woke up, 8, and I looked at my phone, and there were a few messages that told me congratulations, and I had no idea what was it about. Last night was pretty late. Our design lead Apida and myself, we had late night conversations, and I woke up, and very blurry, and I looked at my phone, and it was just a lot of congratulations, and I tapped in, and I was listed under Forbes 30 Asia list just this morning. And just obviously we weren't expecting that when I started ADPList 2.5 years ago. So this journey obviously has been an extremely tough one. I would tell you that, challenging. The challenge is still not over, to be honest. We're facing, obviously, internally, there's always a lot of shifts and whatnot going on. But if I were to summarize this journey, I think when we first started, it was all about passion and I think, just devotion and commitment to the mission. I think today that remains extremely strong, but with more business elements, right? And I think that's the most powerful thing that, remains in this journey. Some of the most pivotal moments for ADPList, I think, comes in 3 different factors. The first one would be hiring. We have had the privilege of hiring the right people as well as the wrong people. And I think when you hire the right people, obviously, they bring tons of value. They bring in new value as well that changes your perspective. And I think those are extremely important for a founder and extremely important for any leaders or leaders to be, if you want to be a leader, to know that hiring is probably going to be one of your most important job. The second moment that was pivotal was about fundraising. So when I first started, obviously I didn't have a background, didn't come from a rich family or a prestigious degree. And so, I, truth to be told, right, being on the Forbes list was just something that I would never imagine. I would never dare to imagine. It basically wasn't available to me or my group of friends that I, would usually, have a meal with in Singapore. And so when I got our first pre-seed funding of 1.3 million led by Sequoia Capital India and such, and I felt like it was breaking out of the mold, right? It was breaking out of this bubble, of growing up in a very small neighborhood in Singapore. And I think that, it gives, I think, myself a lot of hope that if you're willing to work hard, things happened. And that's just been something that I think has been very pivotal, because now that I've seen that, on the other side of the equation, I'm able to convince myself that, there are certain things in life where when you work for it, it comes, and I think that was a proof for it. The third most pivotal moment is about, basically building our product. I think one of the things that we did extremely differently from the rest of the industry and the way we designed it for mentorship was that, we design a free mentorship product, meaning that it is more like, it operates like a social network, less of like a Uber platform where you pay and you get someone to meet you. So we decided to go with that approach. But at a time, about 3 years ago, the entire industry, even today as well, there's a lot of people that actually does like paid mentorship, which means per session. It's like an Uber, right? You basically pay someone and they come and you just mentor them for hundreds of dollars per session, which is very expensive. You agree with me, right? Even coming from Singapore, $100 per hour is just ridiculous to me. And so because I didn't get that, we decided to build it for free. But it was one of the most important decisions that we will and still will continue to make, at least, for our mentorship product. And the reason for that is, we had an insight that was very pivotal, was that, mentorship has always been free, right? There has always been alternatives. So you could get a friend of a friend, or you could get, your professor and a friend of a professor, or you could go to LinkedIn and you could try someone. Now, it is not the best or the easiest process, but you could still get an alternative to mentorship. So if you pay for it, basically it doesn't make sense, because there's always alternative for that. And so what we want to do, the insight was that we want to design, a product that actually makes the alternative much easier, right? Makes the free alternative much easier as compared to going to LinkedIn and DMing someone. It creates some form of anxiety when you have that. And not everyone is able to do that actually. So James and I, we designed a product that was free and that behaves like a social network integrated with a scheduler. And so you go up there, you look at the profile, you say, hey, this is a great designer. He or she works at Facebook and they had 5 years of experience and I want to be like them. I want to learn how to break into design. You put a few filters and then you go to their profile and you basically book a time with them. As simple as that. You don't have any anxiety of trying to co-message them or crack your heads on how to basically, do that. And so when we launched that, it completely changed the perspective of mentorship. People stop looking at the paid products out there and start looking at us, right? That there is a solution out there that is quality, high class quality, great. But at the same time, we remain, accessible financially as well for as many people as possible. And I think that's something that we have been able to do extremely well. And for us, the next chapter right now is how do we continue to maintain free while scaling up monetization, which I think is also a very exciting topic, that we're building right now. How swanky will AI make the user experience in product design? So, coming from Sequoia Search, and so this is Sequoia Search logo, I just want to give them a shout out. I posted a question recently, right, to the bunch of founders and product builders as well, is AI going to be the main value of a product, whether it be in design or whatnot, or is AI going to be a catalyst for your value, right? Now, if we look at companies like Cohesive or maybe ChatGPT, right, both of these companies, it is a product that is basically the value is AI, right? There is no way around it. Now, if we look at a company or a product like Notion, right, or Webflow, let's say Notion or Webflow, these are products where AI is not the main selling point, right? For Notion, all of you go up there, you take notes, you record things, and you build a database there. Those are the value, right? AI coming into Notion, it is to enhance the value. It is to get you faster to the value as well. It is to make you experience the value more, right? Similarly for Webflow, they just announced Webflow AI. AI isn't the main product for Webflow. Webflow is basically no code, allow you to build websites. That is that. But the AI is there to help, users get better in terms of user experience. Now, and I think for many different companies right now, the key is not to be jumping into things that, hey, AI is a cool thing and let's jump into it. But it's to understand, how can AI very much, accelerate a user's experience, to the value that you're trying to deliver, right? So for example, Webflow, using AI, it helps someone to create a website 10 times faster, right? 10x faster as compared to no AI before, right? At ADPList, the way that we think about AI, we haven't thought about it deeply yet, but on a high level, is right now, there's a lot of things happening for mentorship between one person to the other, right? Can we use AI to smoothen that process, right? Whether from an onboarding point of view or just, can we help them generate better questions when they talk to their mentors, right? These are things where it doesn't change the value of mentorship, but it smoothens the product experience. So to answer your question, I think it'll be pretty exciting. I think it's necessary to have for every product with AI. It doesn't need to be the main product, just to be very clear, but it has to be a part of the product that smoothens the experience, get someone faster to the value of your product. The next question, can designers and AI team up like Batman and Robin to create? Of course, I mean, we talk about that, we talk about, Notion and Webflow as a great example today. And Spotify as well, right? Spotify has an AI DJ, I think that they just launched a couple of months ago. I'm not really sure if that's working well. Like I say, not all, AI products are bound to work, but I think designers and AI should work together. AI team should build together. I think there's a lot of potential where you can think of, hey, with GPT, right? And the LLM language that GPT is using, are there any opportunities where we can actually lessen the workload or the user load when they go through a certain experience, right? Like I talk about the example of onboarding, right? Is there any way that GPT could read off, their LinkedIn profile just by scanning it and then helping them fill up certain things immediately so that they don't have to go through, the whole process? And I think there is a lot of things where designers should consider when they design for experiences, especially when their engineering team has the bandwidth to, and the capability to deliver AI. It should be part of the thinking process, right? How can we incorporate that to help, make the experience better? It doesn't have to be an intentional, hey, press this button for AI. The AI could be running at the background from an algorithm perspective, from a data perspective as well. And I think those are things that, we should always consider as designers, just to make the experience better for the users. Can AI help cut product development time and cost in half? Time for sure, right? I can assure, I think time is a big one. Apida, our design lead, talk about how she uses Notion AI, generates most of the document as well. I think that for sure, right? In terms of cost, definitely, right? I think cost as well, we have been seeing, personally, when I write some of the products docs as well, I would talk to GPT or even just basically generate some sort of like templates from there to make it easier. And I think a lot of this helps us to cut the cost away from third-party services. When we mean cost, I think a lot of people do link up the word cost with maybe human resource, right, with people. But some of these actually will replace third-party tools first before it replaces people. I think people are obviously very important resources. I think that's hard to replace at some point. Even for, let's say, content writing, right? ChatGPT obviously does an amazing job with that, cohesive as well. But the AI could never produce an exact type of content that humans would want to read fully through as a storytelling style. And so you always need a human to kind of like vet through it, at least for now, right? Maybe who knows, 1 year later, these things, AI grows exponentially, right? With more data points and not it grows exponentially. So I think that will change. But I think for cost-wise, it will definitely replace a lot of third-party tools, and make things even simpler as we go. How can AI be programmed to juice up design thinking and problem solving? I think it's a tricky thing, because when I think about problem solving and design thinking, frankly, like AI is still not a part of that process, at least for me. But I think recently that has changed a little bit in terms of the initial part of problem solving, because problem solving, there's a lot of different parts, right? Similar to design thinking. You have your hypothesis, your initial, problem statement, so on and so forth, all the way until your ideation and how you're going to solve it. So the key is that I don't think that AI can be a part of all of these parts of the process. The key is to identify where AI comes in the best. From on top of my head, and what I have been seeing commonly used, and personally for me as well, is that summarization and basically analyzing data points, as well as analyzing research papers or summaries. Those are super important use case, right? As a designer, sometimes you get a lot of data points from users. Sometimes you get a lot of data points from your data scientists as well. And ChatGPT or just any of the solutions out there actually, helps to digress that and give you a very quick summary of what you need to know out of these data points, so that you don't have to go and figure out yourself, right? It basically allows you to understand what you need to know in the fastest time possible. So that's efficiency, right? That is one part of that problem solving journey that we talk about that would be very useful. I think the second one is more of a consistent part of this journey, which is the thought process, where you ask GPT, hey, I'm thinking, let's say, like, I'm thinking to design a chatbot for mentorship, right? I would ask ChatGPT, could you list me the historical patterns of chatbots, what has worked and what has not worked before, right? And if I were to design something, what are some of the recommendations that you have? So because ChatGPT has so many data points, it is able to tell you the historical success and failures of certain things that you are looking at, right? And these things, will take you hours and hours to research. And we all know historical data points are important because we need to learn from the past lessons, right? And GPT, LLM is able to do that for us, right? By plugging a lot of data points and put together and say, 5 years ago, this happened, 6 years ago, this happened, right? And this is why, these are the strengths and weaknesses. It basically tells you that and summarize it for you, right? So I think that is something that I use personally. I'll tell you that. And, basically it's like a thought partner. And I think that happens through the process. So I'll sum it up, 2 things in the process, basically summarizing and analyzing data points. And then the other one is just acting as a thought partner. So what about product customization and personalization? Of course, I think, first of all, if you want to personalize your product and customize it, you have to have a strong set of existing data, right? It can't just be, hey, just personalize your experience for someone who you don't even know, right? I think it's always a both-sided thing, right? For me to personalize for you, I have to understand you, first of all, as a user. And so one of the things that we obviously at ADPList, we want to work better on is discoverability, meaning out of 16,000 mentors today, how can we help you at least find a good 10, right, that suits you? And I think that is a big sort of a question where we think a lot about, right? Because see, 16,000 people is a lot. How do you find that 1 or 10 people, 10 mentors that really suits you, right? So this is where AI comes in. This is where we can actually utilize AI to actually personalize your experience, right? By understanding your profile, by understanding your behavior on ADPList, who you book, who you skipped, which profile you spend more time on. Those things are data points where we're able to say, all right, we see that you have a certain behavior, and now we're able to personalize the recommendations for you. Very much like, TikTok, right? Where you basically have a lot of data points, and then you compare that with other millions of users, and then you churn out the best recommendations for that person. And for ADPList, we want to do that in the next few months, right? Which is more than just monetization. I think discoverability is one of the bigger things for us as well, is that how do we help you find the right person at the right time, right? Recommend you to the right contents as well. And I think that is the biggest thing that we're not doing yet, but we're super excited about. Tell us the truth. Are there potential and risk of using AI in? I will tell you that there's one big risk, which is cookie cutter design, right? I think that is the biggest risk. There is this product called Galileo AI, which generates, it's run by a friend of mine. I think she's a mentor as well on ADPList. Amazing, right? It's run by Helen, and it's a great product. I've seen it worked live. But obviously, whether the AI can generate up to a certain standard, or whether it can generate not cookie cutter design or give you cookie cutter recommendations, I think that is important, right? I think that is the risk there, which is if it generates cookie cutter design, everyone gets the same thing, right? If it's a content writing, right, for example, if everyone gets the same content when I pump in the same prompt, then that is a problem, because the whole internet will be reading the same thing again and again and again, right? There's no standout in that. So, which is why human interference would always need to be inside as well, right? Because AI uses a lot of data points, whereas humans, sometimes we have intuition, we use a lot of emotions as well in that. That's something that AI doesn't have. Now, benefits, we talk a lot about that, so I'll be quick with that, which is efficiency, right? Efficiency is the number one thing. Whether at work, you're working, it can boost your productivity, or basically making the user flow more efficient as well for the users, right? Because if the users win, you will win as a business. And that is very simple as that. It's not that if users win, business has to lose. There's no such thing, right? It's always duality principle, where if you can make things easier for your users, the business will always win at the end of the day, right? I think this is always both ways. So the way I look at it is efficiency is always the number one benefit. And I think the second thing is that it takes away the load that is unnecessary in our life, right? So we have a lot of things that maybe are not that important for us to do, tasks that are not important for us to do. It takes away those things. It makes those things faster for us, or even replace it entirely. And then it gives us time back to actually be creative. That's something that, AI cannot do, right? Because they take past data, right? So for example, if you ask ChatGPT today, hey, can you tell me who is the winner of SEA Games, Asian Games in 2023? They can't tell you that. It will say that my data point is only up to 2021. So it's always very historical. Now, humans, all of us, are much more forward thinking as well, right? We always think about the future. And I think that's something that, AI frees us up of our time, and it allows us to think of that, right? Where AI cannot do that. And so I think creativity will be a big commodity in the future. And I'll give an example, just to wrap it up, is that if I were to tell, a certain AI to actually generate a design, it generates a design, right? But if I were to give a better prompt, if I were to give it a, more creative prompt, and it generates out something, that is entirely up to the designer themselves, right? And so my take is this, right? Creativity that you have will be a big community and a selling point for you as a designer in the future. Do you see it increasing product accessibility and inclusivity? Oh yeah, 100%. I think it is a little bit obviously too early, but AI has, I remember seeing some products, I'll probably like share it, after this as well, but those products are able to automatically help, certain websites suggest, what to do for accessibility, what to do for inclusivity as well. I think those are extremely important. And so the thing about certain platforms today, and practices as well, is that such education for designing for accessibility isn't accessible, or basically isn't prioritized enough because it takes time and it doesn't generate the kind of ROI a company wants. But I think what AI will change is that because now that AI is so smart, you don't have to study it. It basically comes in and said, you don't have to spend the effort anymore to do that. We can immediately give you the suggestions to do it. So all you have to do is just to execute on it, right? There's no time spent on actually trying to research what we should do for that. And I think these are extremely important ones. And I'll give you a quick example, not a little bit design related. I think, at ADPList, I used to, and I continue to send out emails. And we use this service called Mail Model, right? And Mail Model basically has this AI tool that, not sure if it's AI or not, to be clear with you, but I think it's probably AI where it suggests the title that I'm writing, right? If it's accessible, if it's, great open rates and everything, but it also scans through the email template design and tells me that, hey, certain things can be edited, bigger text or whatnot. And I think if it's integrated into the product that seamlessly, I think, it's a clear win for both the users and the business, right? At the end of the day, users get things that are accessible and the business is able to help deliver quality products as well on behalf of the users. How can companies get saucy and stay competitive by stirring AI in product design? Build your own platform or integrate with existing ones, or build your own tech. It depends on the stage of a company. I mean, for Unacademy is big enough, and so obviously, they can spin out a whole product. ADPList is not, right? We can't spin out a whole entire company, I think, just to build an AI product. And so if we talk about an early stage company, it will make a lot of sense to be a part of your existing product, right? Because that's what you're selling. You're not selling an AI product. You're selling whatever value that you're delivering. Let's say ADPList, we're selling mentorship, but AI just enhances that value. Whereas if you look at a bigger company, they have many resources. They already have the main product that is out there because they're a big company. AI isn't going to be, AI could be for both, right? Which one is to enhance the main product, which is exciting, amazing, but it's not going to change the main game because they are already big enough. Like AI today on Instagram is not going to make a big difference, right? Besides the algorithm and whatnot. But let's say Instagram would launch a whole AI product. That would make a big difference in the company, right? And so a bigger company could do both, right? But a smaller company could only pick and choose one of that, right? Because of limited resources. So I think that's something that I would say that will be important. And maybe a note for smaller companies is that don't rush into it. I think, one of the things that Brian Chesky has talked about, Brian Chesky from Airbnb has talked about, is that when you have still got a lot of customers complained and a lot of, basically a lot of customers just unhappy with your service and whatnot, it just means that they have not given you the permission to innovate, right? They have not given you the permission to innovate because you have not even satisfied their basic needs and necessity that they're looking from you. So if you add in AI, it's not going to change that, right? That's similar to us at ADPList, right? We still receive a lot of issues on breakdowns and sometimes, certain bugs and whatnot. We have not gotten the permission to innovate on that front. So a lot of things that we're innovating right now is basically, hey, we want to bring our customers to a level of stability. And so then we can take the risk, or then we can take the bet on innovation, right? Because we have now stabilized the boat, right? And I think similarly for Airbnb as well, right? They are doing a lot of things, but not AI, right? Because they have not gotten the permission. And I think that's a way that I look at it as well. How can AI be used to improve user experience of products? We talked about that earlier as well. And just to, quickly recap, it's really to, ramp up the efficiency of user experience, right? Making sure that the user gets to their path of value faster, right? At ADPList, similarly, Today it's easy. You go to a profile, you book someone, you ask a question, pretty fast, about 5 minutes, right? What if we could make it 60 seconds, where you go in there, algorithm is so smart, it recommends you the best people without you even thinking. And then, it generates you questions for you on your behalf, and immediately you book, right? You don't need 5 minutes to think of the question. You don't need 5 minutes to, find someone. The AI that does it for you, right? And I think, that is how you smoothen the experience with AI. So that is a big part. Can you summarize the design process in, say, 5 to 10 steps now with the inclusion of AI? Wow, summarizing. So I think the first part of design process is always a hypothesis, right? What is the problem, or what is a guess of an intuition or hypothesis that you want to solve, right? Would AI bring in revenue? Would certain things, let's say, should mentorship be free, right? Or mentorship should be free. That is the first hypothesis. The second one is always research, right? How do you try to prove or disprove this hypothesis? Obviously, you have your data points. That's great. So that's where you actually use AI to analyze these data points that you already have. But the second one is research, right? Now with AI, on the research part, you do not have to go through 10 hours of research. You go to ChatGPT, you ask that, hey, historically, what have you seen here, right? Historically, what are some of the things that other companies has does here, what worked and what didn't? It pulls out everything basically on the internet since 2021 and before that, and it tells you all of these data points, right? So that's the research phase. It allows you to make decisions, and all of these things that are generated by, any AI software would allow you to make a better decision, right? Decision making has to be made by humans. You can't tell AI to say, make a decision for me based on these things. It will recommend you, but at the end of the day, you are the one who goes with your gut feeling and say, okay, this is the one that I have to do. So the second part, obviously, is third part is decision making. You got to do that yourself. And then the fourth part is, going into product solutions. Similarly, I think AI has a lot of part to play there, including research as well, where you research about existing solution, have them generate certain icons for you just to make sure or copywriting for you as well, just to make sure that your work becomes more efficient. And then finally launching, right? Launching as well, you could use GPT and whatnot to write your copy, marketing copy and whatnot. So it involves every part of the process. It, as you can see, right, it doesn't really replace anything. But what it does is that it basically smoothens the whole process like oil, right, into the same process. Exactly same process. It's just that AI now, speeds that up as well for you. Okay. You're looking for a first job as a product designer. What tools can you use to leverage AI for designs? I think the first tool, I would recommend is ChatGPT, because I use that from time to time just to ask about research questions. But if you're started working in your first job, I think the first thing is to learn the basics, right, before jumping to AI. Because when you learn the basics, you will know where your frustrations are, and that's where you find solutions for it, right? That's where you go and find AI solutions for it. Because if you don't learn the basics, then of your first job, then I think at the end of the day, jumping to AI could just be too fast for you to know, like, hey, is a certain process working or not, right? And you're just jumping into AI, and it could give you the wrong prompts. It could give you the wrong recommendations, for who knows, right? But I would say ChatGPT is a big one. Cohesive as a suite of tools, right? My favorite one is obviously, as a content writer myself as well, I would go there and generate contents and brainstorm from there. But I think that it produces a lot of different use cases as well for designers for research purposes, right? Most of that. The other one I would say that, that I used quite recently is actually called Reflect. There's this note-taking app called Reflect, but basically helps you to, I think, identify, it basically works on the hypothesis where, as a designer, you have a lot of data points in your mind, right? Every single day. So it's a note-taking app, but it actually helps you to connect the dots when you ask it a question, right? So say, hey, based on the notes that I've taken the past 1 or 2 years, what are some of the things that you could draw from all of these notes, and then summarize it up for me. For me, it's a pretty good use case, because I think this is our own data points, our own personal life, our own design data points. And what that does for us is to pull out all the data points and present it to us. And I think so I would highly recommend Reflect. There's a bunch as well. Maybe I'll send you all a quick link here, just to get you ramp up. So this link I just sent it to the Zoom chat. So basically, it has a lot of AI tools inside, different companies by different companies, and I think that will basically guide you from icons to images to marketing, typography and colors. I think everything is there. Okay. What are some things that AI can't handle yet? I think it cannot handle bad questions. Yeah, it cannot handle bad questions. Seriously, I think, if you ask it a bad question, it either doesn't know the answer or just give you a really bad answer. And if you ask a bad question, then, if you take the bad answer, then that is it, right? That is the end game for you. But yeah, it certainly, it's not good at anything if you don't have a good prompt. So I think a good prompt is right now a very big part of AI, right? You could write the same content or you could have the same piece of content, but if you give a different prompt or you give a better prompt, right, things entirely change. And so what I think is that it starts from you, right? Which is, can you give a good prompt to the AI, which I think is a big challenge, because thinking about a prompt is also a work to be done on your side. It is not that easy as we think, like, oh, just ask a question. When they say that no questions are stupid, I would defer that in the terms of AI. If the question is stupid, the AI just gives a stupid answer. There's a lot of things that I think it can't do, which is, I think, first of all, collaboration, collaboration between designers and product managers and engineers. AI cannot help you with that much. I mean, it can help with the process of the tangible things on Jira and all those things, but it cannot help you to make someone better, right? It cannot help, management of these processes. It cannot help with the management of people as well in this process. So I think there's something that AI cannot do and cannot replace, which is people's management, right? Could you imagine an AI being your manager? You will not feel like, you are part of the collaborative process. So I think that's the second one. And I think the last one is simply just creativity, right? Like I say, AI is always taking data points from historical patterns, right? And it is not able to create a new future in a sense, at least for now. It could predict certain things, but then at the end of the day, humans are the one who are going to be the one who is creativity drive, the direction of certain products. And I think that is something that they can't do as of today. But just with the evolution of AI, I think things could change pretty fast. I don't think anything is fixed when it comes to AI. What industry will benefit majorly? Are there any in particular? The first that came to my mind wasn't design. The first that came to my mind was healthcare. Immediately healthcare. So I spent 2 years in the army, and in the army I was part of the special force, but I was also so basically our team was like this like trooper team where we're taking care of like the key installations in Singapore. So we were protecting like the airports, the shipping wharfs of the Singapore. And so I spent 2 years there, and I was the medical specialist, right? And one of the things that I see was just the amount of, I think, documentations and patient documentations, especially as a doctor or nurse or medic, wherever, you have to do, right, before you even treat and cure a patient, right? Because you have to go through all their past data points again and write it down again, even as they speak. And I think that process takes about 30 minutes just for someone to even see the next doctor. And so, which is why queues at hospitals are unbearably long, right? And so AI can basically really just replace that whole process. I'm not sure if it's really happening in Singapore, hopefully so, because, I obviously worked in Singapore for that. But I think that is the first thing that I really thought about straight out of my mind, was that healthcare, that has to change. I think it impacts people's lives. So we have to act fast, right? And I think that is a sense of urgency there. In terms of technology, you see, I think everything can change. It is way too fast. So, but I would say that healthcare is something that I'm indexing on, and then the rest is just still a pretty open field out there. Are there any upcoming workshops in AI? Yeah, we have it. Let me just send a quick link as well. So we will actually, and this is a wait list for now. So we're actually launching a masterclass on the rise of AI, on how do you design for AI, right? How do you design for AI? And at the same time with AI, right? Both of these are in the curriculum, but mostly how do you design for AI? So send the link on the Zoom chat. You can join the wait list. the cost would basically be about $30 or even cheaper for some of the existing members as well and scholars of ADPList. But it's always very affordable pricing. We try to be there. We'll be inviting the world-class experts in AI and in design as well to come in and share about that. So join the waitlist, and that will be pretty exciting. And we have, I believe, a lot of more smaller workshops coming up on that side as well. But this is the bigger one, and it will be out in June. In June and July period. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. Yeah, is ADPList building its own AI? No, I don't. No, we're not. Like I say, we haven't got the permission from the users to do that yet. And I don't think that we have the resource to do it yet, to be frank. But we will be putting in resource. I think the first is to clear out whatever technical debt that we have. And then that is the next phase for sure. Because it basically makes the product better. It smoothens our user experience. And so we have to think of that. There's no way that we cannot think of that. We won't be building our own AI, but we'll be integrating GPT into the engineering system, into the backend system, to help us, from a user experience point of view, whether it be from algorithms to recommendations to smoothing out your conversations with mentors, or even just asking simple career questions, right, to ADPList AI, and just giving you that holistic experience to learn and grow your career. I think that's what we want to build. Awesome. Yeah, so we've come to the end of the AMA today. I am just super excited to be able to chat with you. So if you want more recent development of what's going on in the space, do follow us on ADPList, and as well as my personal socials as well. We post about all these things. And design, most importantly, right? Post a lot about design and the hard truths about design, right? Like designers need time to rest and just do nothing, things like that. So get your inspiration from us. I think that's a big one. Our AI course is coming up in June. And so basically go to the link there that is being sent, and, join us, right? Join us in June, July period. It's going to be a weekend, workshop, weekend workshop over the weekend workshop. It's not going to drag on for like 3 to 4 weeks. We want to be action packed, make sure that, you learn within this 3 to 4 hours workshop on over the weekends or in the week itself. And so that's something that we're super excited about. So yeah, join the wait list for AI courses, tell your friends about it. I can't wait to see you there. We are going to have a lot more exciting features and products coming up in the next, I would say, few weeks to months as well. And so stay tuned for that. We have nothing to review at this point, right? But I think that AI course is one of the biggest. We are working on a lot more things for you. So stay tuned, and see if you have any feedback. My Twitter, my LinkedIn is open for you to just reach out, and always here, right, for everyone to ask questions as well.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. This was Cohesive AI community conversations that we keep on bringing every now and then. Well, we try to host people like Felix, but I think we would like to host Felix again and again. Felix, with your permission, of course, over the next couple of weeks, as we are evolving here with our product as well, with Cohesive. A lot of lessons that we keep on taking from ADPList, from the way they have built their products as well, from Felix and mentors like him. Of course, I would like to mention that for a lot of product folks out there, for a lot of designers out there, we have made ready templates within Cohesive AI. So if you're, say, looking for logo suggestions, if you're looking for some design suggestions as well, if you're looking to jazz up your copies of the product that you're creating, you can go to Cohesive AI. Just simply sign up there. There is no cost to try. There is a free plan, a starter plan that we have. You can go on in there. You can try out the templates that we have, and well, tell us how you like them. Of course, if you would like any customized templates built for you for your specific use cases, please do send us that, and we will take it from there. Yeah. With that, I would like to thank you everyone for joining us once again here. Stay tuned, stay with the Discord community as well. Even if there are more questions that you have and you might not be able to join the live event, that's fine. Please send it to me. I would request Felix if we can get answers to those questions later as well. But yeah, stay tuned, and